Coming up on this episode of MSEB News, we interview students about the reopening of movie theaters after COVID.
We also take a look at what Horn High School band members have to say about their experiences this year.
An interview with the Mesquite High School Nurse about the daily reports on COVID-19.
And then we interview North Mesquite High School's new principal about starting his first year during a pandemic.
All this and more coming up on MSEB News.
Welcome to MSEB, live from the TEC studios.
Good afternoon, Mesquite ISD. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Eduardo Costa.
And I'm Cecilia Duran. And you're watching MSEB Live, a show produced by MIC students and brought to you live from the TEC studios.
We'll bring you the top stories from throughout the district and take an inside look at what's happening in MISD. Let's get to our first story. Mr. Washington is the new principal at North Mesquite High School. Our field reporter Daniel Serna has our first story on how he has stepped into his leadership role during the pandemic.
We are here at North Mesquite High School, and this year we have a new principal, Mr. Washington. With this being his first year while dealing with the pandemic, Mr. Washington successfully stepped into his leadership role. In the beginning of the year, the Mesquite ISD School Board approved that there would be face-to-face classes. North Mesquite was tasked with putting safety measures in place to keep teachers and students safe. Good morning, my name is Daniel Serna from the MSEB News broadcast, and I'm here with the North Mesquite High School principal, who is actually new this year. His name is Mr. Washington, and how about we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So my name is Kenneth Washington. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I've been in education now for 20 years. I attended Hampton University in Virginia for undergrad and the University of North Texas for my master's degree. I'm not a native Texan, but I got here as quickly as possible, and I consider myself a Texan now.
How did you get interested in education?
So it was interesting. I began my career as a probation officer. So I was a juvenile probation officer. And I was running across a lot of students that were finding themselves in troubling situations, and there was really nothing I can do for them other than lock them up or arrest them or do something that wasn't really going to benefit them for their future. A friend of mine had an opportunity, told me about education. Because of my background, I had a special education background dealing with individuals with mental health issues, and that's kind of how I found my way into education. Started off as a special education teacher dealing with behavior students, and it just kind of manifested into a 20-year career.
How did the opportunity to become a principal of North Mesquite come to you?
So I was a middle school principal for the previous six years in another district. I've always wanted to move up to high school, but the opportunities were kind of far and in between. And then with my family, I have 3 small children at home, 7, 5, and 2. And so I was kind of waiting for them to get a little older because I knew high school was a new dedication. There was a lot of timing and a lot of dedication, and I wanted to make sure I was available for those moments. So when I saw North Mesquite post, it was very close to my house. I've heard amazing things about North Mesquite and the fine arts program and the students. And so when I saw it available, I thought I would be a great fit. So I applied and jumped in with 2 feet and put my all in front of it, and was blessed and lucky to receive the opportunity to be named as the principal.
I think we're also lucky to have you as a new principal. How has your experience been as your first year here in North Mesquite?
So it's been interesting due to the pandemic, but ultimately it's been a great experience. I've had the opportunity to meet a small group of students compared to our total population, but the students I've had the opportunity to build relationships with has been amazing. Daniel, you're one of them. Javier, just getting the opportunity to meet so many different students on this campus, that's my highlight. I've gone through school several times. Everybody else is going through school several times. It's about the opportunity, and the opportunity that I'm having with these students this year and the faculty. I mean, we have the best faculty, the best teachers, the best students, and it's really true. The blue blood here is real, and I am just happy to be a part of it. This year, the biggest challenge is walking into a classroom and the student engagement isn't there. With the online platform and kids using their Chromebooks more often, the conversations aren't there. A lot of people are nervous because of the mask, and so we've had to transition through that for the whole year. So I would say that's the biggest challenge. And then also really preparing things for seniors. I really want the senior experience to be special this year because the students last year did not get an opportunity to experience that. So that's been one of the biggest challenges. A lot of things are back on now and we're planning. It's just the timing right now, but we're gonna make sure that all these things still go on. We've got prom lined up. We have a lot of things planned for our seniors. And so that's really been the biggest challenge, but it's coming together and we think that we have some wonderful things planned, and ultimately I think we won't even remember what we weren't able to do. So I do have some expectations. I do consider myself a student principal, and what I mean by that, kind of like a player's coach. I'm here for the kids. I'm here for the kids. I'm here for the faculty. I'm here to serve, but at the same time being highly accountable. We can't do certain things without having accountability, and students having an understanding of the expectation is key. So next year we're going to have a big push to make sure everybody has an understanding of what it means to be a stallion. What does pride and courage conquers all really mean? Because I think that's important. I think the experience of the students and their experience in high school is groundbreaking. It leads you on your path for the rest of your life. And my job is to ensure that I don't ruin it while also providing many opportunities for you through your time, both academically, personally, and whatever platform it may be. And so that's my biggest goal now, is to ensure that the school is influenced by student decisions, influenced by what students are interested in, influenced by what teachers are interested in. So really going back and having some focus groups and really talking to the students and identifying how we can make this school better and just pushing that. So at the end of this year, we're having some focus groups starting. We're going to do some this summer. And so when the school year starts next year, we'll have a clear understanding of what it means to be a stallion and what it means to cross that stage, and whether it's 1, 2, or 4 years, and just really have pride in being blue, you know? And that's really what I'm pushing for here at North Mesquite. Future stallions, current stallions, the biggest thing is get involved. My grandfather, my father, my parents always said a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So if you have a question, a concern, an idea, come see me, share with me. If you see me in the hallways, greet me, greet others. I think the biggest thing is our numbers. We have a lot of individuals at North that have a lot of great ideas, but the only way your idea can be manifested is if you share it with others. So I think just really being open and being comfortable with having a conversation with your peers and having an open conversation with myself or any administrator, because your opinion, your values matter. What you want to see happen here at North matters. And the only way I can address those is if I know about it. So I just implore everyone to get involved, to share ideas, to join an organization, because ultimately, if you don't, school is going to be boring. It just is for a lot of people. And so when you're involved in things, it just provides you with great opportunities to build your future, to meet new friends, and just have fun while you're at school.
We hope that North Mesquite welcomes Mr. Washington as part of their True Blue family. From the MSCB News, I'm Daniel Serna.
Thanks for the story, Daniel. It looks like North Mesquite is in good hands under the leadership of Mr. Washington. In our next story, we sat down with Mesquite High School Nurse Wazinski about the daily COVID-19 reports. Our field reporter, Shalitha Jones, has the story.
COVID-19 has had its big impact on Mesquite High School, so I decided to sit down with Mesquite High School's nurse, Ms Wazinski, and ask what are her daily reports on COVID-19.
Well, our daily reports are of positive cases that occur on the campus. If a student is a VLA student, but they come to campus for activities or anything of that sort, then we would count them as a positive case as well. So that would be added. It includes students, staff, anyone who comes to our campus.
COVID-19 is hard to contain, so how do Mesquite High School manage to control the students that contracted?
We actually have a quarantine room that is set aside specifically for students with COVID-like symptoms. So we put them immediately in that room, and then we can assess them there and speak with them. We have a cover over the door that's a clear plastic so that we can speak with them and ascertain anything that they might need.
So where do they keep the infected students?
And they're actually just outside this door, outside my office, so that if they need something, they can call us and we can come and get them whatever they need.
So how do they track down a student and how they got it?
And that information is shared with our administrators and health services, my supervisor, And then I also have to account for attendance for that person.
I believe it's safe to say COVID has gone down. This is Shalitha Jones signing off.
I have always wondered what goes on in the clinic during the pandemic. We are lucky that Mesquite ISD has nurses trained to keep our students well at all times. In our next story, our field reporter, Tiger McAdams, talks with some John Horn High School band members and their experience participating in band this year.
The Horn High School band has been through some pretty tough times this school year, so let's see what a junior and senior have to say about their experiences participating this band year. How do you get around with the pandemic?
Getting around with the pandemic has been, pretty complicated. When it first started, I got a job because I didn't want to stay home. I wanted to make some money, and after I got a job, I was there at McDonald's for like a good 7 months, and then that helped with it. And then playing a lot of video games helped, practicing my instrument, just doing my hobbies.
How was COVID like for you?
Oh, it was rough because now my lungs they got a lot worse. I do school at home since I'm VLA.
3 words I would use to describe this year would have been probably crazy, unpredictable, and I'm gonna say long. It's been a long season.
They play good.
Having band kids virtual makes the experience in a way more sad because band's a group experience, and when you have half the people that help you project the sound gone, kind of kills the vibe. So yeah, it sucks. Our band's biggest accomplishment during marching season, at least during the pandemic, is just having a marching season, because who even thought that we would have something like a marching season in a year full of 6 feet and wearing masks and social distancing and stuff like that. So just even having a marching season and a proper show and showing up to UIL and area.
It's pretty interesting seeing the different point of views of the junior and the senior as they near the end of their school year. I'm Tiger McAdams for Mseb News.
It is interesting to hear from our fine art students about their experiences during this pandemic. In our final story, we interview students about the reopening of movie theaters after COVID. As COVID-19 reaches its end, we are seeing the reopening of restaurants, schools, and workplaces. However, there is one place that has yet to reopen. Today on MSEB News, we asked students at Mesquite High School if they are anticipating the reopening of movie theaters here in Mesquite, Texas.
Before COVID, I went to movie theaters maybe 4 times a year.
Not very often, maybe once or twice a year, depending on if my parents wanted to go or if my friends asked me.
Before COVID, I attended movie theaters maybe once a year at most.
So then where is it that students watch new movies?
Now the movie theaters are closed, I watch movies online on subscription services and YouTube.
Places like Amazon or Netflix or something. I don't really watch movies.
Mainly just streaming websites.
I think movies could open again if they didn't serve food, because AMC has the dine-in. If they didn't serve food, then they made it to where the people that you sit by, if you're going with someone, you sit by them, but then you're still far apart, and I think that would be fine.
I don't think movie theaters could reopen the COVID stance completely. If movie theaters were to open, I feel like they'd have a smaller impact than they originally did.
They could open again and be COVID safe by not serving food or socially distancing the seats. But I don't think that it'd be better than it was before. People would just continue to watch movies at home because they'd still have food and they wouldn't have food.
So are students anticipating the reopening of theaters, or will they attend the same as before?
If movies were going to open soon, I would attend the same as I did before COVID.
I'd probably attend less depending on what kind of movies were released for theaters versus streaming websites.
I mean, I already didn't attend them a lot, so probably.
So will movie theaters stand the test of time, or have they met their demise through COVID-19? This is Cecilia Duran with MSEB News.
It seems like COVID-19 has changed how many students are watching their favorite shows. Let's hope that the movie industry bounces back and continues to make great shows to watch.
That wraps up this edition of MSEB News. For more information on today's stories, please visit the MSEB YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Cecilia Duran.
And I'm Eduardo Costa. Until next time, stay classy, Mesquite.
This has been a presentation of MSEB, Mesquite Student Entertainment and Broadcasting, in association with the Mesquite Independent School District Career and Technical Education Department.